For years, people have wondered how Meghan Markle got into the royal world so fast, so easily, and with such a big splash. Many thought it was meant to be, others said it was love, and some swore it was just luck. But now, rumors from inside the palace walls tell a different story. One that goes straight back to Sarah Ferguson, the bold red-haired duchess who never really left the royal spotlight. According to people who know the old royal crowd, Sarah, who most call Fergie, supposedly has a story that could change how we see Meghan's rise to fame. A story about meetings, connections, and perfect timing. A story about doors that should have stayed shut, but opened wide. And a story about how one woman's comeback to royal life might have crossed paths with another woman's plan to get inside. Word on the street says Fergie didn't just sit back and watch Meghan walk into the royal family. She might have been part of the reason the door was open at all. If this is really true, then the start of Meghan's royal story wasn't a fairy tale, but a planned move. And that's where our story starts. It all kicked off back in 2013. Before fancy titles, before castles, before worldwide news stories, there was a freezing cold winter night in London. A reporter showed up at a quiet spot expecting a basic interview and instead met a woman ready to change her future. Meghan Markle, still technically married but already thinking ahead, started talking softly at first, almost shy, almost unsure. But as they kept talking, something became obvious. She wanted attention, and she wanted it in the United Kingdom. The reporter later said there was only one reason Meghan set up that meeting. She wanted her name in print, her face recognized, her story out there. She wanted news coverage, attention, a way into British media. Other reporters had said no to her, but this one showed up and he walked away thinking she wasn't just another actress visiting town. She was going after something bigger. As they talked about relationships and fresh starts, Meghan supposedly shared that her marriage was ending and that finding someone new felt hard. But there was more going on underneath. Something she didn't come right out and say, but dropped hints about through her questions, her interest, her thinking. That night wasn't small. It was the beginning that would later be looked back on as the moment everything changed. Soon after, Meghan's focus seemed to turn toward the world of British famous people. One name popped up, Ashley Cole, a well-known soccer player famous all over the country. Meghan asked about him, his life, his image. The reporter told her he wasn't the right guy, and her face apparently fell. Some people later joked that if she had dated Ashley Cole, she might have never met Prince Harry at all. This moment matters not because of Ashley, but because of what it revealed. Meghan wasn't looking down, she was looking up. She wanted a public life where cameras clicked, headlines followed, and doors swung open. She got that in Britain. Success was like climbing a ladder, and she planned to climb it. This wasn't about finding love. It was about finding a position. And for the first time, we can see where she was headed. Every society has its secret ways in. And in Britain, one of them is Soho House. Exclusive, private, and packed with actors, rich people, powerful families, and big players. This is where Meghan found her way in. That connection came through Marcus Anderson. Well-connected, stylish, and trusted in the circles Meghan wanted to join. Through him, she got access to the world that sits right behind the royal curtain. A world where friendships matter like money, invitations are like signals, and being spotted in the right place means everything. Sources say this is where Meghan's journey changed from just wanting something to actually getting somewhere. Soho House didn't just give her connections, it gave her respect. And, quietly, without anyone paying attention, Meghan was now standing at the edge of a world very few people ever get into. To understand how Meghan got deeper into royal territory, we need to look at someone who was already on the inside. Someone who lost her title officially but never really lost her place. Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, divorced Prince Andrew a long time ago, but never really left him. She kept living at Royal Lodge, walking around the property, showing up at family events, and keeping her influence. It was like her story hit pause, but never stopped. People close to the old royal circles said Fergie had real power, not because of her title, but because she knew everyone. She understood the weak spots of the royal family, the personalities, the cracks in the system. She knew it all from the inside, and she knew how to stay close to it. This matters because sources claim that Meghan seemed surprisingly comfortable around Fergie from the start. Years later, Meghan would say publicly that it was Sarah who showed her how to curtsy before meeting the Queen. That detail seemed weird to a lot of people. Why Fergie? Why her out of everyone? Why the woman who should have been far away from royal rules? The answer, according to people who know how things work inside, is simple. They already knew each other. And if that's true, then Meghan's entrance into the royal world wasn't sudden at all. It had been happening quietly long before anyone knew about it. With Sarah Ferguson come her daughters, Princess Eugenie and Princess Beatrice. Unlike the top royals, they hang out in circles where fancy bloodlines mix with celebrities, fashion, nightlife, and money. They have friends with titles and friends with private planes. They go to charity events and fancy parties. Their world is easier, more modern, and less protected. It's in this space, according to rumors passed around fancy social groups, that Meghan's presence started to fit in naturally. There were parties, dinners, private get-togethers, not photographed, not public, but not forgotten either. Princess Eugenie especially becomes a key person here. She later seemed openly friendly toward Meghan even after the royal drama, which hints at a friendship that started before Harry came into the picture. Then comes New York. When Princess Eugenie moved there, Prince Andrew followed for a month to help her get settled. Around that same time, Meghan was often flying to New York, going to events linked to Soho House theater and cultural scenes. The timing and location overlap made some people quietly suspicious behind closed doors. This part of the story shows something important. Meghan wasn't an outsider who just suddenly showed up. She was already hanging around the family's younger crew, mixing into the edges of their social world, moving one step closer to the crown without anyone noticing what was about to happen next. While Meghan was getting closer to the royal world, the royal world itself was falling apart. Prince Andrew faced growing questions about who he knew, and the name Virginia Giuffre started showing up all over major news sites. Accusations, court papers, and worldwide headlines everywhere. The royal family, once untouchable, now looked weak. The most shocking moment came when Virginia Giuffre's lawyer suggested that Meghan Markle could be called in for questioning, not as someone accused of anything, but as someone who might know things about royal behavior and private business because she was close enough. The thinking was simple. She lived in the United States. She was within reach of American courts, and she had been close enough to see things. Whether this would have actually happened or not didn't matter. The idea alone showed the truth. The royal family was already hurt before Meghan ever married into it. She didn't start the fire. She walked into the smoke. This is the turning point in our story, because now the whole thing changes. Meghan is no longer just a rising actress looking for fame. She's a woman stepping into a royal family on the edge of scandal, surrounded by reputations that could fall apart with one single headline. And from here, the story gets darker. As Meghan climbed higher and got closer to the royal center, the whispers got louder. Stories spread about matching timelines, shared friends, and photos that showed up briefly before vanishing again. One name especially kept coming up: Ghislaine, a woman said to have been connected to powerful people and exclusive yacht crowds. According to these rumors going around, there were pictures showing Meghan and Ghislaine together, smiling in the sunshine, surrounded by friends whose names were never said out loud. No big news outlet printed them. No official source confirmed them. But the whispers kept going, kept alive by people who swore they had seen more than the public ever would. This is where the story gets foggy. Not because it falls apart, but because it becomes too sensitive for anyone to talk about directly. People who claimed to know things would only talk in hints. People who suggested connections refused to show proof. And people who could have confirmed or denied it stay quiet. But the suggestion, the idea of being close, was enough. Because if Meghan really did stand next to people who moved in shady circles, even just socially, even innocently, then the story of her rise sounds different. It becomes not a fairy tale, but a crossing of paths. Paths filled with influence, power, and secrets. The questions stay unanswered, and unanswered questions are where mystery lives. Here's where everything connects. Meghan Markle didn't walk into a peaceful kingdom. She walked into a royal family already damaged by scandal, shaken by lawsuits and scared of what might come out. She didn't create the mess, she stepped into it. And yet, when the storm came, she became the target. Some say she played the system. Others say she was just the newest victim. But the truth might be way more disturbing. What if Meghan was simply the first person who refused to follow the old rules? Because Fergie stayed protected, Andrew stayed shielded for decades. The palace survived yacht rumors, sketchy friendships, and hidden files. But when Meghan showed up, American, loud, unfiltered, the walls started shaking. Not because of what she did, but because of what she might say. If she ever decided to reveal what she saw, what she heard, or what she figured out, the royal family could break wide open from the inside. And the people behind the walls know that. Which is why even now, even after leaving, Meghan stays like a shadow over the palace. Not because of her past, but because of her power. And that's the brutal truth. The royal family isn't scared of who Meghan was. They're scared of what Meghan knows. The story isn't over. The match hasn't been lit, but the fuse is there, quiet, thin, waiting. And when it catches fire, it won't just rewrite Meghan's story. It will rewrite the crown.